sculpting here to test out live streaming from VR. And I'm using Dash to check Twitter chat of the YouTube chat. So if anybody's watching this, don't hesitate to leave a comment, so at least I know it's working. Okay, well, I'm using the external camera, so you're not watching the POV, which I think is a way better way to watch someone in VR. I personally get a little motion sick. The funny thing is that since I've been working in VR, the same thing happens when I'm watching movies nowadays, but never mind. I'm gonna start in symmetry mode, and what I want to make, I'm gonna use the subdivision modeling tools. So start with a cube. You know what? I'll start with a plane for this. I want to start with a yellow plane, and I want to make a basic shape of a fish, and then use that basic shape and cover it with other geometry. That's kind of the idea I have now. Okay. Let's see how this goes. So gravitysketch changed this. Before, I couldn't easily make a triangle. I had to make actually a loop cut here, but now I can just delete this and I have a triangle, which is great. Okay. So what does a fish look like? Oh yeah, that should not be wide. I'll connect this, and I'll do the same at the bottom. That's what I did on the top. Delete this one, leaves a nice triangle. Whoops. Yeah, like that. And let's close off this shape. Probably can do something like that. And I actually want to see what it looks like. Subdivision, yeah, it looks like crap. Maybe I just want to keep it low poly. Kind of angular shape. I think I like that. I'm gonna make extra loop cut here. And as I'm doing this, oops, there's some vertices not welded. Actually not welded probably at this moment, but at least snapped. The welding happens on export. And as we're doing that, I'm just gonna check the Streamlabs widget, because I'm using Streamlabs for this. And I probably should add some extra widgets because I'm not really sure what's going on here, but never mind. Let's continue with this fish. A lockdown fish. Yeah, I want to do something super simple. And I'll probably need some Oops, yes, my left controller is probably running out of power. Because these Oculus Rift hand controllers, they eat batteries. It's incredible. Let me swap it out. Oh, actually, I think I saw a comment and... Ah, yes. Let me see if I can actually comment. Oh no, I have to open a web browser. Let me do that real quick. Oh yeah, well, thanks for the information. Yes, I have to reposition the camera. I guess I don't have to comment. I can just say it because you can hear me. Yeah, see, what I have to do is I added that external camera and I moved it up. I have to move it up and I can see it from VR. So yeah, thanks for the tip. That would have kind of been a shame that when working on something and nobody would be able to see it. So the cool thing about that external camera is you can lock it to your view. So you'll just see me working while the camera stays at that same position. Okay, let's continue with the fish. Let's add a little fin. And this is really kind of going to be a basic shape that I want to cover with other shapes. Because actually this was a little project I was doing with my girlfriend who was being a little bored during the corona pandemic. And I was like, we'll do a little creative experiment. And I found all the old cardboard and we built a fish actually from cardboard. And we kind of did it the same way. So we made a basic skeleton. And then we took her old carnival costume and we glued all that glittery stuff from that costume on that fish. I'll maybe show it to you later. Okay. Well, I can only check the comments every now and then. I'm not sure how I can keep them in the in my view. But as I said, I'm kind of figuring this out. Okay, well, it's very basic, but I think it'll do. Now what I want to do is I want to create for the skin, I don't know what you call it in English. In Dutch we call it schubben. Maybe it'll come to me. Let's make this a different color so it's a little bit more visible. You'll see what I'm trying to do here in a bit. So yeah, this is going to be its skin. I'll position it like this. Maybe scale them down a bit. It doesn't have to cover it perfectly. And then like constantly overlap. Whoops. And maybe I'm probably not going to do that in this live stream, but put it in Substance Painter and maybe give it a Kind of a cardboard material. Yeah, so this is always kind of tricky. I don't know if you can see. I can put the camera like that, of course. That's the cool thing, you can just move the camera around in gravitysketch. So here, I don't want it to overlap itself, so I'll just cut it in half. And then I have to stay in edit mode to keep that symmetry going. I'm not totally sure why that is, but okay. Then here I have the same problem. Whoops, now it's too close and it's going to automatically snap. Let me reposition that camera again. So I'll just keep an extra one of these handy so I can copy them later on. And I won't even bother snapping it. The idea is that it is kind of like cardboard, so this is fine. Now let me see what people. Lee McLennan says, do you ever process a gravity sketch model in Blender? No, I haven't really gotten around to using Blender. I've always wanted to, but as a lot of people know, you kind of get stuck in your way. So I've always used 3ds Max. Is there some other questions? Yeah. So yeah, Blender, it is great software, and it's really, I mean, there's so much in it, and the fact that it's open source and it's free, it's so amazing. Actually, this pandemic would have been a good reason to start to learn something like that. But I've actually been pretty busy trying some new stuff, including live streaming. Okay, let me just. I wonder if there's a way people could just talk to me with audio, because I think I'd actually prefer that versus the chat. It's kind of a hassle to constantly open that. Open that window. Put the halves one here. Got a long way to go, and I think that at some points the model below is sticking through it. And when I'm done, I'll just modify that to fit the outside. Now the cool thing for stuff like this is, I think for this fish, I'm just gonna do, which I might live stream, do a automatic UV unwrap, and then all these elements are gonna automatically get their own UV shells, which means that in Substance Painter you can add this generator which gives every UV shell like a random color, which is really nice to very quickly add some color variations to stuff like this, or like roof tiles. And I was looking for an effect like that, and only recently I figured out that you can apply generators not just to mask but to the layer itself, which I would have known earlier if I would actually read documentation, which I hardly ever do. I just start making stuff and stumble on things, which is not the best way to learn, but yeah. Okay, let me check the chat again. I'm streaming from Streamlabs, which is from OBS, Open Broadcasting System, but it's a different piece of software, and it's very easily connected to your YouTube or your Twitch channel, which I actually just only recently done. I'm not sure if you can stream in Discord. I don't know too much about that. Is there a spectator mode in gravitysketch? Well, if by that you mean this external camera, then yes. You just open gravitysketch, then on your keyboard, it's a little hidden, but on your keyboard you hit the escape key, and then a little menu pops up with some extra features, and one of those features is add an external camera, which gives you, I can't show it because of course that's the camera that is streaming right now, and I can't switch once it's on, but it'll give you like a virtual camera inside gravitysketch with a little screen. So within gravitysketch you can see what that camera is seeing, and that gets streamed to your desktop, which I've done some of those time-lapse videos where I sped it up, and for those I use that camera. In the past I have done point of view videos like that, but they're way too chaotic. So one of the ideas for streaming was also like me using a camera. Like now I'm actually moving it around. Although you got to remember to look at that little screen because, well, Lee, as you mentioned in the beginning, I didn't position it right and nobody could see what I was doing. But communicating with people inside a stream, that's something that I'm going to look into, because constantly opening this chat screen isn't the best way. And I think it'd be fun to do something in the future where it's just like an improv thing, and I'm just build something based on input that people give me. Or even, I know that gravitysketch has got a version where you can collaborate with people in VR. It's the enterprise payment model, so it's an expensive one, but maybe they'll, if I ask nicely, they'll give me a copy. I'd love to use that to collaborate with someone and make something in VR simultaneously and maybe stream that. I don't know, I just kind of like to do those little experiments. Now for the fin, are we going to use the same, I don't know what you call them actually. I think we're going to use something else. Does that mean we could join you in gravitysketch through that? Yeah, I'm not really sure how that would work, but I'll look into it. And Zibo says that I could set up a Discord for vocal. but I'd like people to just participate in one stream, but then I guess I'd have to set up my own Discord account. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, as I said, I apologize. I'm a newbie when it comes to stuff like this. But if there's like a website or a tutorial where somebody's explaining how to do that, then feel free to send it to me. Because I really like that idea of kind of collaborative art making, or if it's not even possible to make the art collectively, just get some real-time input, do some improv sessions. Anyway, and it does feel like a bit like I'm talking into air, which is not a problem because I'm not a stranger to talking to myself when I'm working. But my girlfriend does look at me like I'm crazy when I do that. Okay, let's put some extra things here for those fins. I'm going to use a different color just to see what I'm doing. And I am purposely not looking up reference material. Sometimes you should do that because it's good and it gives you information. Sometimes you should just not do that and not let reality get in the way. So for this, it's just going to be like these longer strokes, I think. Thinning out at the end here. And yeah, kind of have that same overlap idea. So I'll move those edges around and I'll just scale it down. Yeah, but that's interesting. So integrating Discord with this, so we could actually have conversations. It's interesting. The OBS Streamlabs software that I've only just installed an hour ago, it does seem pretty advanced. So I wonder if they've already like taken into account that something like that should be possible. But I'll look into that as soon as we're done here. Okay, now follow that shape. Yeah, it's so weird. Kind of want that overlap also at the tips. Yeah, it's also on the other side. Let me check the chat again. Ah, thanks, Sibo. Yeah, Sibo sent me a link on Twitter. Cool. I'll check that out as soon as I'm done here. Yeah, Lee says also you said from Twitter that you were on Curacao. Actually, internet is pretty good here. My girlfriend lives here, so I officially I'm still living in the Netherlands. But I came here for her, and one of the first things that I said to her is like, first thing you need to take care of is really good internet. So she bought the most expensive package, and now I have better internet than I have at home. There's this big cable going under the sea to Curacao, so it's actually on paper this is a pretty good island for like digital nomads. I mean, they've got some other problems for sure, but no, it's a great island. I haven't been diving here. I'll have to learn how to dive, but My girlfriend is pretty good at that kind of stuff, and we do have it planned. I don't know. So see, sometimes you copy one, you go in edit mode, and I selected the one from the other side. Okay, never mind. So Curacao, yeah, I was here right before the whole corona pandemic happened, and I was supposed to fly back the 15th of March, and we were literally on the beach, and I was about to board my plane, and then the local government in Holland had a press conference about the partial lockdown they were having there, and then I looked at my girlfriend and I was like, you know what? This is looking like it's becoming a global thing. Probably better for me just to stay here with you because, we had no idea. It was already looking like airports were going to close, travel was going to be hard. So we had no idea when we could see each other again. So yeah, I made a call and I was like, I'll stay in quarantine here, and I'm actually happy with that choice. Although Curacao is in full lockdown, and actually they're being more strict than the Netherlands. We have a nice house we live in, and the weather is great. There are only 2 days we can go out in our car. It's because our license plate starts with an N, and with that you can only go on the streets on Tuesdays and Fridays, and other people with other license plate can go on other days. This is how they're trying to not kind of spread people around. Let me see what you're saying. Yeah, hardcore internet. Yeah, that's really not a problem. There's this kind of the gambling industry here in Curacao. It used to be a little bigger, but I think that was the reason that it was possible for them to invest in pretty heavy infrastructure here. You were looking at Belize. Oh yeah, I don't really know that, but I mean it's digital nomad. It's the way to go. People are, especially now during the pandemic, abandoning their offices, and so many people are working at home. And a lot of people that I talked to who were at first like, I'm not I'm not fit for working at home. I actually need to go into my office. If I work at home, I'll stay. I'll work in my jogging. Like I won't wear pants, and I'll open the fridge like 10 times a day, and they're figuring out. And this I'm specifically talking about my girlfriend who is working at home at this moment. They're figuring out that they can actually work at home, and it's just a mindset. Maybe it takes a couple of days, and yeah, it's not a problem. Whoops, I need to swap out my left controller. I thought I just did that. And these controllers are draining batteries. It's crazy. Okay, let me just get this set up. I think it's working again. Yeah, I love working from home as well. I've been doing it for the longest time. The only thing is that I've kind of realized is, especially now when I'm here with my girlfriend and we're both working from home, it's very good to have kind of a ritual where you end the day, where you're like, okay, this was the working day, and now the working day is over, and we're gonna have some fun. We'll have some dinner, watch a movie. And for us, actually, the lady that lives downstairs is a friend of ours, and she started what she's calling the urban workout. So there's this parking lot here, at the side of our house, and we're actually with a couple of people from the neighborhood. We're doing like a CrossFit workout type thing, which is very interesting, and it's kind of bordering on the border of being illegal. But since that parking spot is still part of our house, when security comes by, they'll just let us do that. And some other people in the neighborhood, they saw us do it, and they actually are taking part of it now. We have to make sure we kind of stay, don't get too close to each other. But the lady downstairs has got it all organized and created like these stations where everybody's working, and then you move around, and then there's like more than 2 meters space between the stations where you do like various exercises. So it's actually, yeah, we're all actually getting kind of fit during this pandemic, which is crazy. Okay, now I'm creating the eye, and I'll move the camera around again a little bit, and let me make it black and turn this into something like this. As I said, that shape underneath is just to kind of give direction, and I might maybe even delete it or just modify it so it doesn't pop through anymore. Now I need to do something for the head. I'm not sure. I'm gonna work on that tail first. I'll probably do something similar to this. In fact, I'll just copy one of these shapes. Well, maybe I do like it, it's kind of splitting apart like that. Can you see it? Yeah, see, these are the things that I don't really get, because now I am in symmetry mode. But once I've placed it and I copy it, but that's probably because they got automatically connected to the snapping here. What you can do then is, if you go in edit mode, it will still, yeah, but then can't copy the whole thing, so this is not great. Yeah, so I'll just create another copy. Oh, you shut down it for you. That's smart. Yeah, I'm using Oculus Rift. Yeah, actually, this is a pretty old one. I've bought an Oculus Quest now, but it's kind of, the Oculus Quest has kind of become our more like a console. My girlfriend loves to play games on that as well. But for creation, it's still the Oculus Rift. It's still the most comfortable for me. I can wear it for hours. Yeah, buy gravitysketch. It's really awesome. Yeah, nighttime creative. Oh, I have to say that now I'm kind of living with my girlfriend, so it's not like working all night long. And I did have to get used to it because I loved working at night because you kind of feel that there's no time, and also nobody's calling you on the phone. You're not receiving any emails. So I missed that a little bit in the beginning, but as we humans do, you get used to that new situation very quickly. And it's also good for me to have a certain time where I'm like, okay, now the working stops, and now I do other stuff like socializing with other people and having dinner or playing games, kind of stuff that I usually wouldn't do. But yeah, it's a fuller life, I guess. Okay, what am I doing here? No. I want to keep it a little bit more symmetrical. Just move a couple of these around. I'm gonna put that shape underneath on a different layer. So you just add a layer there, you grab it, you put it there, and I'll lock it and make it transparent. Okay, that's funny to see how that tail's looking. Probably need to move these parts together a little bit more. But also, it doesn't have to be a realistic. Now, as you see, the parts that haven't snapped together are still in symmetry mode. Just that one on the top, it kind of lost its symmetry mode, so that's kind of annoying. Just very carefully grab these. And then I'll have to show you a little bit better. So what do you call these things in English? These blue things? Scales, right? Scales? Yeah. Fish scales. That sounds right. Okay. I actually think I do like the look without that space underneath, because it kind of emphasizes that feeling that it's a handcrafted thing. So I'll make the head just on a separate layer, and yeah. Scales, yeah. Fins for the green, yeah. This is good. I'm learning English as I'm live streaming. So let's create a head. Give it a little bit more detail than the other shape. Just create a triangle like that. Yeah, let me make that a little bit transparent. Yeah, gravitysketch is great software. I mean, I love the other. I love like Oculus Medium and Tilt Brush, but I was always more interested in VR tools that I could actually then unwrap and put through like Substance Painter, but also like for light mapping, you want the kind of clean geometry. You could at first you could only really create it with Google Blocks, um, but Google Blocks was pretty limited. And when gravitysketch added the subdivision modeling tools, yeah, that's when I really switched over to gravitysketch. And for me, because also like for a living, I create environments for VR, and I think the best environments for VR are created in VR. It's still kind of mind-boggling to me how many people are using just like 2D interfaces for 3D software when they're creating stuff for VR. So when you create for VR, you should do that in VR, and then gravitysketch is really the only software that allows you to do it in a way where you can have good edge flow, unwrap it, and have good light baking and all of that stuff. So it's kind of geared to industrial design and product design if you look at their website, but for architecture, but also for characters, I mean, works well for so much. Yeah, Lee says he's struggling with the pipeline. I made a tutorial series. I don't know if you saw it. I just created it, and it shows the Blender part, but in 3ds Max. So I don't know if it's useful for you, but I do kind of show there how I think a lot of it does kind of translate to Blender. Um, as background noise, yeah, that's actually. Wait, let me get rid of that. I think. That was my girlfriend doing Skype calls with clients. Yeah, kogelvis. Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah, the snapping in Google Blocks. That's not. No, you'll love gravitysketch for sure. They've made the snapping in such a way that it only snaps when it makes sense. You got to kind of be mindful of how much you've scaled in, how much you scale up or down, because that kind of affects your snapping. But it's pretty intuitive. There's this other guy, Samuel Tate, and he's been doing some live streaming where he's following my tutorials, and he's using Blender, so maybe that can help you as well. Yeah. Okay, I'll continue with this fish. I don't think I need to make it overly complicated, since this is really all about kind of testing this live stream thing. Yeah, I think I can turn off that base model. Oh, I forgot to add those parts of the fins as well. Now it is looking very transparent, but I think I kind of like it. It does look like it's kind of a glued together thing. We might need some. I think we might need some extra fin on the top of the bottom, and for that I'm just going to turn off the symmetry mode and get a little cube. Now I want to give it the same color, and coloring in a lot of stuff in gravitysketch is actually just grabbing your object and then don't worry about moving it around, because as soon as you make the choice for which button, for example the color wheel, it snaps right back into place. And sometimes you need to do that because it's very close to other objects, and this way you can more easily see your color wheel. Anyways, here you see the colors of the things you've already used, so I'm just going to pick that lime green there. And colors in gravitysketch for me are really just a way to kind of keep organized. Yeah, let's just do this very simple. Maybe make it a little thinner on top. Yeah, sure. And let's copy it to the bottom. Okay. I want to give this a different color. So this is one of those things where I will just grab it, move it to the side, then hit the color wheel, and then kind of color it again. And maybe for effect add a little fake light in that eye. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, sure. Why not? Now this tail is still looking a little funky. I'll go in there just to fix this a little bit. Close it up. And see now, and I almost messed that up, but I've turned off like the global symmetry mode. But now, because I've moved these things together, at this, I don't know if you can see it. Because I moved these parts together, because they're snapping in the middle, now they've got local symmetry applied to them. And you can see that when in editing mode, you can see that here, symmetry is on. And there's all you can see here that it's mirrored. So that's why it's still doing the symmetry. Okay, I think this is a nice fish. And this was a nice little first streaming experiment. Yeah, I do think it's nice with that transparent. How did you snap the top fin on the center line? No, it actually, I just did it by eye. It wasn't, I didn't really snap it. I turned off symmetry mode because just a little quicker like that. Yeah, I'll move the camera closer, sure. See, and this is what happens if I zoom out too much. There's this camera clipping going on. So if I zoom up, I actually can change the field of view in my camera as well. So let me put it on 50 millimeters. And so what I also have turned on for this is actually, yeah, you can see it because you can still see my UI. Is that surface contours button, which it's just nice. It gives you a little bit more of a clear idea what you're doing. And you can see all the polygons. So here the eye, I see that the little scale is a little too close. And as I said, I've turned off global symmetry, but because it's created with symmetry, it still has its own symmetry. So that whole thing that I was telling you about, that they have dissymmetry because the vertices have snapped together, that's actually not true. I'm discovering now. So never mind. Yeah, I think this is also looking a little weird. Maybe move this a little bit. So yeah, that top fin wasn't created with symmetry. I just kind of placed it by hand. And so the rest is pretty simple. Yeah, so let me know if you want to look at this model in gravitysketch. Let me know. I can just send you the zip file. No problem. Yeah, guys, cool. Thanks. I'm gonna check out that link that you sent me and see if I can do with audio. But as you mentioned, yeah, I probably have to create my own Discord server. There's probably somebody's already created something that works with Streamlabs. I can only imagine. It would be fun that to do something like this again, and then actually be able to talk to you guys. Okay, cool. So thanks. I'm gonna see how I end this stream, and hopefully see you next time, guys. Cool. Okay, signing out.